He's, or she, not really sure how Red Dragon's gender, especially this one, which is adorable and very young. It's not yet finished, but it's coming along. Because I'm using the top spikes here as my holding points, I'm gonna have to redo them at the very, very end. Hopefully not hex it all up. I want to get these, so I've got these washed down to more or less where I want them. I'm gonna do a purple wash, very gentle purple wash here on this side to match this side. I'm going to be selectively placing it as opposed to doing a general all-around wash, although I'm going to pre-wet the model. Since I'm doing washes, of course, I have to spend time doing something else while I am waiting for the washes to dry. So I've got this beautiful girl who I absolutely adore and who will not go into focus no matter what I do. It's okay. So I'm just gonna stop looking at her and maybe she will. Her belly was originally sculpted flat, but I was like, nah, she's a harpy. She would definitely have strong abdominal muscles, so therefore, I did some stuff with her eyes. I might touch them up a bit, give her little whites in the corners of them, and I definitely want to add some sort of pigment to her lips. I don't want to go red, I don't think. But I might do a very dark brown. And then I just need to clean up the talons a little bit. And she's pretty much where I want her, all things considered. I mean, she's never going to be perfect. I did a rush job on the priming, so it's kind of, as such. And I say never. There are ways to get her to get all the ways along. I'd also want to do her claws, which I think I'm going to make those the Trinity. There's a rule in painting, you don't have to follow it, it's not really like a hard rule, that says that triangles are sort of the most pleasing shape in geometry. So if I've got this color here, it's a prime position for putting color here and here. The four purple bits here are creating kind of a box effect. And then I was gonna do another triangle by painting, I think these little bands here are gonna be a bright red, and then I don't know what else would be the bright red. Might do those there, and then I might make them pink like rose quartz and then paint the stone to be rose quartz, which from where you're looking at the front, which would be real subtle. But other than that, I then have to make this actually look like frosty snow, and I have a couple ideas about how I'm going to do that. I'm not 100% sure just yet. And when I'm not doing her, I'll be working on an orc boy. He's putting rust on his little blade, which is adorable and great and perfect. So this is one of my husband's pieces. He likes to get the entire set painted so that he can play. Like, that is his goal. It's not painted to be painted, it's painted so everything can be played with in an adult competitive fashion. But his interests wax and wane, and he's currently on a god tier kick instead of a 40k tick. So I'm gonna go through, gonna clean up this red, gonna clean up the line of metal here. There's a bit, I don't know if you can see it, but under his arm there's actually a bit where the green paint didn't take for his skin. This belt didn't come all the ways down, and there's some red that got onto it. Just a few little odds and ends, that sort of thing. Which again, tabletop, you got 50 of these guys, he's perfect. He does not need a thing. Getting him up to individual model status, it'll take some doing. And then of course, if all three of them are wet, then I work on my bullet. Or if I've worked on, yeah. And basically I just rotate through. The bullied is usually real quick. He's still at the priming of bones material. And yeah. Oh, and the dragon has a base, and it will look really cute. Probably have lots of stuff on it. I don't really want to start fidgeting with that too much until I have the final colors blocked in. So at this point, it's still anyone's game. And my husband suggested that the bully's face could be a bright orange. I might even do bright orange with like a white chalky hand, like he's Sauron's bullied or something. Or Sauron's, not Sauron. If you were wondering, this is tea. It's delicious. It's also scalding hot, like stupid lava hot. So we'll just leave that over there while it cools a bit. Yeah. So stupid lava hot is a phrase that Ryan and I have used for years and years and years, usually with regard to whether or not I'll put freshly made food directly into my mouth without thinking or anything. I thinking's too harsh a phrase. Without really considering self-harm as a possible side effect. So what I'm doing here is I'm pre-wetting this half of the mini, so that when I apply the paint as the wash, it'll go, it won't form hard edges per se. You do this in watercolor all the time. I don't know, there's probably fancy names for it. I don't know them. I am relatively self-taught, plus YouTube. But mostly self-taught when it comes to watercolor stuff. But I've been doing watercolor since I was a wee lass. Until I got in trouble and had my parents... Oh, they took all anything even remotely watercolor away. Because one of my brothers stepped on a paint tube and turned the carpet blue. It was very blue. Alright, here we go. I'm keeping this for the most part in there we go. There we are. So in this case, because of the way this is sculpted, for the most part, aside from right here under the chin, I actually do want the paint to seep downwards in direction. Normally with a lot of clothing, you actually want the shadow to seep upwards, so it'll catch strongest on those like folds of cloth, like skirts and stuff. It'll go under the skirt, not down the skirt. This guy's not necessarily going to benefit from that super much. Cool. He has now been washed. Just going to last smidge here. So I'm just going to darken up right here. So this looks super deliberate. There we go. And of course this will take like 3 passes to get just right. And let's see if I actually have the patience to do it just right before, moving on to the next stage. I guess I could wash these. I'm just gonna do the very edge. Right ratios are so precarious with that sort of thing. There we go, that's getting a little closer. I don't want it to pop comically bright, but I do want it to show a focus. Oh, I know what I could do. Yeah, because that's a perfect fantasy berry color. So, provided I remember to do it, I can actually put a little berry bush, mostly possibly even a brighter green, so that her darker green shows up as sinister. Not left-handed, but like, you know, mysterious and such like. And then what blending? And then I could put berries on it that match her claws pretty darn closely. Blend it up. Now for the tricky blend of another color. So wet blending is pretty much what it sounds like, which is where you are blending paints not on the palette but on the figure itself while the paints are still wet. One of the tricks to that, of course, is causing the paints to remain wet, also having control over how much pigment and liquid is in your brush. Luckily, if you've been doing a lifetime of watercolor, that's not usually the hardest thing. I say as I obviate all details with too much water. But I'm gonna come through with the Wicked Dark Green. What is this color? The Troll Skin. And edge highlight or edge shade all of the stuff really close to clothing and armor and such like. Not too worried about that. A little, but not super. Okay, and tie a little speck of green down here. To get my brush wet again, which is always terrifying because you never know it's gonna work out. Right. So it is a little translucent for what I'm doing. That's okay. All right, red orc shirt, check. Oh, I like that. It's perfect for a shade, just undilute. Or I mean, just diluted, not unmixed. means it's perfect for a wash, provided I thin it properly. There is thinning medium and stuff, but I don't know. I usually use that unless I'm really going for like competition pieces, and I don't think I am. All right. Here we go. Now I'll just let him dry upside